All right.
All right, cool. So this episode, man, we're gonna be talking about the stretch four, the new era of the NBA. We're gonna get into shooters, greatest shooters, all that other good stuff, man. But um, I remember, watching the Lakers and the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah,
Mm.
the epic Kobe Shaq at the end of the game. I remember that game. And if everybody, that's real true sports fans that actually seen the game, they remember the Lakers was down big, right? And I
I
remember
do.
during that game, my dad told me that the league is going to change because Rasheed Wallace was hitting outside shots. And what he told me was, he said, you're going to have bigs that's going to be stepping out shooting from that distance because it's easier for them. It takes less strength. They're already big, so it's going to be an easier shot. Um, he said it in passing. I asked him about it. We got into a conversation because the game was getting away from the Lakers. And Kobe and Shaq woke up, and the rest is history in terms of that, man. But I bring it up because we could kind of go back a little bit further. Those of us
Definitely.
that follow the game, if we remember, we had, shout out to Cliff Robinson, another Portland Trailblazer that died. But Cliff Robinson was one of the first stretch fours that I truly remember. You know what I mean? Um, the brother's name is following me now. Left hand used to play with the Lakers, man.
I was
Played
about to
with
say, yeah,
North
he go
Carolina.
back a little bit further with Sam Perkins.
Sam Perkins, that's
I
who
knew
I'm
you had to
thinking
go with
of.
Sam
Yeah,
Perkins, baby.
Sam Perkins was one of the first ones that we saw. Big smooth, left-handed, stepping
Mm.
outside, shooting. We had a lane for that. You know what I mean? Hot Rod Williams, all the boys used to actually step out. It wasn't truly threes because
Brad
the
Doherty,
game
yeah.
wasn't. Yeah, Brad Doherty. The game wasn't built that way. But if you go back and watch clips, you know, Patrick Ewing shooting from 19 feet, David Robinson shooting from 19 feet. Now
Bill
those were
Lambier.
centers. Yeah, Bill Lambert. They were all kind of, bringing that in, but the game just wasn't played that way at that time. So I guess the quintessential stretch four would be Dirk. You know what I mean? And I say that in the sense of Dirk changed the game in a lot of different ways, and what I mean by that is he was 6'11 and everybody was calling him soft. Like, man, this dude is out here, won't get no rebounds, all this other stuff. But he was lighting boys up. You know what I mean? He was lighting boys up. So not only did he usher in the big explosion of the foreign player, but he also kind of changed the way the game was played in terms of bigger guys being able to put the ball on the floor and create that mismatch. Now I know we had other people doing it before him. However, he was one of the first ones where you kind of like saw it is in a different mode. Then you got Chris Bosh, and now right now to me, although he's a stretch, he's a small forward, but KD's a stretch forward. He's the ultimate stretch forward. The dude about 7 feet tall. He's a guard, you know what I mean, but he does it all because of his ability, man. So the new NBA has gotten away from big men, and we have what they call the positionless basketball, open area, all that good stuff, man. But
Who
I
you
want to get you
who
all thoughts on who you all thinks are like the best stretch fours, or you know what I mean, what you all feel about this non-traditional role. Because I remember in the previous episode, B Lee, you talked about being 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", and they used to throw you on the post. You know what I mean? So go ahead, and if y'all want to chime in on that new era, we could keep it rolling.
all right, hold
All right.
up. I can't. Do y'all see this little part at the bottom?
What part?
Do y'all only see the stretch four in the new NBA?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, okay, good. I just want to make sure because I had something pop up on my screen. I just want to make sure I wasn't recording. But go ahead.
All right. Well, for me, I remember I was listening to Bill Lambier talk about stretch, like big men shooting today, and they had a whole bunch of people talking about like Bill Lambier was one of the first centers to actually step out and constantly knock down threes. He was literally the first one in the 80s to be knocking down threes at a center, and
Mm-hmm.
then you got Big Smooth and you got Rick Smith, who didn't really shoot threes, but he was a outside shooter, just like Patrick Ewing. Rick Smith's like 6'3", 6'4". He's a big white boy just knocking
Rick
down
Smith,
shots.
Oh,
7'3",
7'3",
7'3",
7'3". You
7'4".
mean
Yeah, I know
I'm
what you
sorry,
meant.
7'3", not 6'3", but 7'3". Yeah, he was, one of the. I remember him just knocking down shots after shots all the time. He wasn't really in the post a lot, but he had that nice jumper. And then here comes, Dirk. just was the first one to really mainly shoot 20 and beyond, just knocking down shots. Was, just watching him score 30,000 points, MVPs, going to the finals, winning finals MVP. He was the first true outside shooter who, constantly shot him. You had people like Cliff Robinson. I remember watching him with the Nets, and he constantly knocked down threes as well. Back then in like the early 2000s, they didn't really shoot as much because I watched him with the Nets when he played with my boy VC. So he was like the best main 3-point shooter. That's what he came in and knocked down threes. Like he had that. He had a sweet ass jumper. And then like now, the game is so fast paced, and everyone is constantly hitting shots. There's just more opportunities to hit shots. I'm watching Marc Gasol, who has never really been a good 3-point shooter, is outside knocking down threes. Marc Gasol. So the game has just changed so much, and everyone wants to say that they're soft, but they're just their range is just improving. They're constantly working on shooting threes, shooting long jumpers, spreading the floor, being fast paced. So that's just how the game has changed so much today than back in the like 80s and 90s where it was inside out. Now it's up and down and spread out.
Go ahead, Al.
I want to ask y'all this, man. I put in the chat, I said, is Dirk the best stretch four ever? And I know Alan mentioned KD, but for whatever reason, I always think of KD as a three.
Small four.
He's still 6'10" though. He's still 6'10".
Right. I know he tall enough to be the four, but I always thought of him as a three. But Dirk, I feel like he got more weight. He's a legit four. So my question was, is Dirk the best stretch four ever? Because if you think about the stretch four and shooting, the brother is a straight knockdown shooter, and who can shoot better than Dirk as a stretch four?
If I had one, it would be Dirk.
Can I argue something? I even though Mikal played the four, Bird was 6'10". So
yeah, Bird was big too.
Bird was the same height as Dirk. So to me, Dirk got it because he actually played the four, but the best stretch six, the best big man shooter to ever live, to me, will be KD when it's all said and done with. But I would have to give it to Dirk. If not Dirk, you have to say Bird, man.
Hey, I honestly would say that it's KD only because, we watched them win at the four in Golden State. He was the four.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He played the four now.
He played the four now, but think about it though. You know what I mean? Draymond was the four. Was the three. Nobody really paid attention to that, but he was like playing point on offense and he was guarding the wings on defense. KD was playing the four both times. You know what I mean? So for their 2 championships, and it should have been the third had not been injury. So, it is just the nuances that I think in it that when we talk about the game, we recognize it. You know what I mean? Like other in different ways than most people do. So, yeah, I'm going with KD, man. And ain't no hate to Dirk, man. Actually, shout out to Mark Cuban, man. And I know he's big in like social justice, and I know that's one of the components of the show. But Mark Cuban really truly changed the game because he had the foresight to say this can be the franchise player. Usually you don't see that, you know what I mean? He basically said, let me go get him a coach in Rick Carlisle and let me go get this guy. And we can build and win the championship around him because of his abilities, where, other guys that were that size just didn't get the opportunity to have the ball in their hands that much. You know what I mean? So shout out to Mark Cuban and his vision to say we can change the game this way. And I think that's a little nugget that most people don't pay attention to. All right, final thoughts on this, fellas, and then I know we got to wrap to to what's going on this week in the NBA or in college hoops or whatever hoops we want to watch. So let's roll.
Well, for me, I don't consider KD a big man at all. So, that's like most people who don't consider LeBron's a point guard, even though he plays point guard. I don't consider KD a power forward. He's just not a power forward. He's a guard.
So who is the best
is LeBron a point guard though? Let me ask you that. Is LeBron a point?
Yes, he's a point guard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Al.
Hey, I gotta ask B-Lee a question, man, because Alan touched on something. I just want to get his opinion because I know I call B-Lee a LeBron fan. So as a LeBron fan,
he is.
I want to ask you this question, B-Lee.
I forgot you not. I forgot you, mate. But go ahead.
Well, that's what I think. But Allen said if it wasn't for the injury that you know, Golden State would have won that championship. I guess when Cleveland came back from 3-1, and without
not facts.
Injury,
Toronto won. The Toronto won.
Are you okay? Are you talking about that one? Okay,
Yeah,
I was thinking about. I'm thinking about
KD wasn't there. KD wasn't there.
You're thinking about if Golden State in 2016 was not hurt because the Cleveland won. I think
if Bogut don't get injured and Draymond don't get suspended.
Well, I don't even think it was that. I think it was because Curry was hurt and the Thunder series wore him out. And if they had a easy time with the Thunder, they would have probably swept Cleveland 4-1.
Yeah, you talking the next year though. He's talking about the LeBron comeback.
16.
Right.
Yeah,
16.
He's talking the LeBron comeback.
16.
Yeah, I think Golden State was just a better team. It's just Cleveland got lucky
with the injuries.
Mm-hmm.
With the
Curry
injuries?
was hurt. Like everyone saw Curry hurt. He was limping around that whole series, and I don't think the Draymond suspension played any role into that because LeBron was going to get 40 on him anyway, so it didn't really matter because he played the last two games. And
it mattered. It mattered because that's the best series that Draymond Green played in. It mattered.
It didn't
That's the
matter
best.
to LeBron at all. The only reason they won,
played because he was getting tripled up after tripled up, and he was actually doing really good. But let me make
he
one
talking
last.
about Bogut was the one to go ahead though.
I just want to say one last thing about the stretch four. I just want to shout out to my favorite stretch four. He's not the best stretch four, but Rashard Lewis has always been my favorite. And I felt like after that Orlando, that year when they went down to the finals, even though they lost to the Lakers bad.
Oh yeah,
but
always. That's how
it changed a lot because Rashard Lewis was a factor, man. Rashard Lewis was a factor ever since he was Seattle. He came straight out of high school.
He averaged over 25 a few years.
Yeah, and he been playing that stretch four since he came in the league. So I just want to give out that shout out as far as my final thoughts about the stretch four because he always was my favorite, most underrated stretch four.
That's a great name. I just say that. That's a great name.
Yeah. Hey, let's settle it. Real talk with B. Lee and Marky Mark. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Real Hoops Talk with real people. Your show, your way, raw and uncut. Follow us, like us, subscribe.